Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things that we learned from Chelsea 5, Ajax 1. A huge night for Chelsea in the Champions League. We get the job done. And listen, this didn't feel necessarily when we're watching this game like the most competitive game of football. Some could argue that this actually felt a little bit like it was a Thursday night back in the Conference League. Ajax offered us absolutely nothing. They scored a goal from a penalty. Tosin gives away the penalty. Philip Jorgensen maybe should have done better. It was the only thing that the goalie had to do all evening. Didn't save it. Ajax get their goal. But there's something about a 5-1. It's always a scoreline that you look at and you're like, that's emphatic. And as much as the game maybe wasn't the most entertaining thing, like at the end of it, I was too busy looking at my phone, looking at Atalanta to see what the score was there, because I had a decent little cash out bet going on. So Chelsea tonight, we've got no Cole Palmer, no Robert Sanchez, no Reece James, no Cucurella, no Joao Pedro, no Liam Delap, countless players not even on the field, and we score 5 goals in the Champions League. If that isn't a good enough reason to smack a like on today's video, this is a huge win. There's going to be a lot of people that will be like, oh yeah, but Ajax got a red card. It wasn't really competitive. Listen, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And we had countless moments last season where it might have been 8 goals against Noah. Might have been a little pre-Christmas Guinness festival by scoring 5 against flipping Shamrock Rovers just before Christmas. And it was belittled because it's only the Conference League, all right? Let's remind everybody the anthem that played at the beginning of this match at Stamford Bridge. It's that famous song. It's the Champions League. And Chelsea have beaten one of the most famous European clubs 5-1 at the Bridge. And look, it might not have been, like I said, the most enthralling game of football. This isn't an Ajax team where, you know, many years ago, probably even before my time, we might be looking at Ajax with fear. We might be concerned. Are we going to get a serious game here? Is this going to be competitive? It wasn't that. But Chelsea can only beat what's put in front of us. And listen, when I look at that starting 11, I'm a little bit worried. I'm like, why have we got Caicedo at right back when you've got Reece James, you've got Gusto, you've got Josh Achampong? Why are we playing Caicedo there? It worked. Chelsea were dominant. Caicedo right back. You got Tosin Fofana in the centre-back positions. And then you got Yoel Hato playing at left back. Great stuff. We don't need to start Marc Guiu. Give him some rest. Give Hato some minutes. That's what we brought him in for. You then got Enzo Fernandez and Romeo Lavia in the midfield with Estevao on the right. Gittens starting on the left with Buonanotte in the 10. And Chelsea started, Enzo Maresca started with Marc Guiu up front. And listen, Marc Guiu scoring in the Champions League, I'm delighted for him. He gets a start. And I'm worried, like, when he comes off at half-time, I'm thinking, this was the perfect game for him to get a second half. Chelsea 4-1 up at half-time. We could have gone on a route. We could have scored more. In the end, we didn't do so. Guiu comes off, and then within 3 minutes, Tyreek George, who I don't like playing as a centre-forward. You guys know this. I don't think he's a number 9. Tyreek George comes on, and he scores the 5th goal. And from that point, it was coasting. It was plain sailing. But for Marc Guiu to score his first Champions League goal for Chelsea off the back of getting that brilliant performance off the bench against Forest, where, listen, he might not have scored goals, but at least he was a menace. He was a nuisance, and that is what has played him into the starting 11 today. And I keep saying it, right? Chelsea can only beat what is put in front of us. And Ajax didn't really put up a fight this evening, but we got the job done. Box number 1 of your 6 things we learned from this 5-1 win is a green for Marc Guiu. Now, this weekend, let me know in the chat right now, can he play against Sunderland? He's already played for Sunderland this season. I think surely he can, because he was on loan from us. So surely Marc Guiu can actually start this weekend against Sunderland. Let me know, because I've not actually researched that one before we started recording this video. But I think he's got to play. I think even when you take Buonanotte out of the starting 11 for Sunderland at the weekend, you put Joao Pedro back in there because Pedro didn't play tonight because he was suspended. If you take Buonanotte out of the starting 11 and put Joao Pedro in there, I think you get more out of Marc Guiu. And I also think as a result of playing Pedro in the 10, you get a lot more out of Sunderland as well. And I think a lot is going to depend this weekend on what Sunderland come to Chelsea. I think it'll be a Sunderland that will come, try and frustrate Chelsea. And hopefully as a result of that, Marc Guiu can be that menace to unlock other players around him. I thought he was good, gets himself a goal. And listen, we're playing against a 41-year-old geezer in goal for Ajax. So it wasn't exactly like he had too much to do. Drills it into the ground and it goes in the back of the net. Good night for Marc Guiu. Comes off at halftime, gets his goal. Champions League, like this is different. This is different caliber. These goals mean something. He's going to remember that for the rest of his life. He was lining up with the Champions League music at Stamford Bridge against Ajax. Huge moment. Huge moment also. Box number 2 for Estevao Willian. I thought he was going to score. I also said if you watch the shootout Champions League prediction, I thought that Estevao and Marc Guiu were going to score, and they did. Estevao Willian. Let's keep going about this guy, shall we? Because he has got something special. And listen, we could go on all day about what that something is, but every time he gets the ball, he looks as though he's going to do something magical. And it's not even just like when he makes a pass or when he makes a cross. So many great balls, tantalizing crosses. Far post, Gittens making the run, should have done better. But Estevao, every time he gets it, it's either a little feint here, a little feint there. Everything he does is calculated. Every single movement, whether it is actually feinting and taking a player on, whether it's beating a man, running at him, whether it's hitting that penalty, the penalty is absolutely sublime. The way he hits that into the side of the net is beautiful. I've been saying it ever since we saw him at West Ham. He's got to start every game. He's got something special. He brings an X factor. And I was looking for something better than X factor, but you know what I mean. He brings something special to this Chelsea team. He's got to start for me every single day. Estevao is box number 2. Box number 3, Moises Caicedo. Now, it's not the cleanest goal he's ever going to score, but he scores again. Caicedo back in the team. Chelsea bossing it. And again, I think the most important thing here is when you look at the lineup graphic, you've got Caicedo right back, you've got Enzo and Romeo Lavia in that team. That is what I want to see more of. Not necessarily Caicedo in the right back position when we see the lineup. It didn't seem like that. Caicedo was not playing as a right back. Chelsea knew, Enzo Maresca knew, that we were going to dominate possession. We're going to have the ball. And I want to see Caicedo in more advanced areas. I think he's got it in him. We know he loves to have a shot, and we're seeing it more and more. And as much as, like I said, it isn't the best goal he's ever going to score, isn't the cleanest goal that he's ever going to score, the fact he's in that position and he's able to pull the trigger, being influential in the final third, that is where you start to take your game to the next level. For Caicedo, we know that when it comes to being that last man in front of the defence, he's going to be the man to break things up. He's going to keep making those tackles. He's almost flawless with doing that role, similar to what N'Golo Kante used to do. But now we're seeing him progress forward. We're seeing him in advanced areas more, and he scores again. And I don't think we can underestimate that kind of influence that he's starting to have all over the field. Not just with the tackles, not just with the ball recoveries, but with scoring goals. Caicedo has done it again. We move into box number 4. I've given a green here to Jamie Gittens. And listen, Gittens is a polarising character, because if he's not scoring goals, we're going to keep saying 55 million. What have we spent that money on? Now, if you watch the shootout watch-along, where Eunice and I were discussing who had a better game out of Buonanotte and Jamie Gittens, I personally don't really see too much of what Buonanotte did. And educate me in the comments, please, because maybe I'm missing something. But when it comes to influence, when it comes to a game where Chelsea are having total control of possession, we're creating countless chances, I think Gittens was far more influential in that conversation than what I saw from Facundo Buonanotte, in my opinion. There were some great moments where Gittens is kind of standing his man up. He beat his man. Great crosses into the box. I think he should have gambled when Estevao put that beautiful cross in towards the end of, I think it was the first half. But I think for Gittens, this is another example of what he can bring to this team. I think when you look at the balance of the way that Chelsea played today, when Estevao's on the right and Gittens is on the left, Gittens is doing exactly what we brought him in to do. stand his man up, take him on, beat him, get shots away or try and get shots away and make those balls into the far post where either Marc Guiu is going to be there or Estevao is drifting in. What I loved about Estevao's role is that it felt a bit more free. It felt a bit like when we see Cole Palmer play on the right, he can drift inside and get involved in those kind of positions. But I gave the green box to Jamie Gittens because I thought he was positive. I thought he was playing with confidence, and considering there's obviously a big conversation about, is he good? Did Chelsea waste the money? I thought he did well tonight. I thought it could have been Garnacho playing, but the game suited Gittens and he did well. Box number 5 is a green for Tyreek George. I'm just checking all of my graphics here. Tyreek George scored that goal and he came on, and he was playing with a bit of fluidity as well. I think Chelsea knew that the game was won, and as much as I don't rate Tyreek George as a striker, he scored a goal, heavily deflected, yes, we know that, but still, he puts the ball in the net, and then from that point, he was all over the place in a good way, getting involved, trying to get the ball across the face of the goal into those positions. I thought Tyreek George did very well. And as much as we kind of took the foot off the gas towards the end of the game, we got the job done. And to beat flipping Ajax 5-1, first Champions League goal for Tyreek George, I'm all here for it. Box number 6 is a green for Wesley Fofana. I was literally thinking here, like, who am I going to give this to? Could be Maresca for managing the team well, bringing Caicedo off, bringing Enzo Fernandez off at half-time. I've given it to Fofana purely because he lasted 90 minutes. There was a time during this game where I thought, it looks like he's pulled something. Is he going to make it? Fofana makes it to the end. I think if Wesley Fofana can stay fit, then we need that kind of ball-playing capability at Chelsea. We need someone that can work with the ball out from the back. Tosin was doing it as well. Can't give a box to Tosin. He gave away that penalty. He looked a little bit sloppy again in those 1v1s. Don't want to pinpoint anything really here for Tosin because, look, we won 5-1. Yes, we conceded a penalty. Tosin gave it away. But we're finishing with a box for Wesley Fofana. 6 things we learned. Chelsea 5, Ajax 1. Huge night for us in the Champions League. 3 more points in the group stage, +4 for the goal difference. Liverpool are back to winning ways as well. They won 5-1-2. But listen, this is our night. This is our time to revel, beating a huge European team, scoring 5 goals. And we've still got tons of injuries. Chelsea are back. See you guys in the next one.